Broadcast is live already?
Yeah, you're on.
Are we? Hello? Hello, good evening. Are we on? Yeah. Hello, good evening. How's everybody? Welcome to International Assistance again. Internationally, of course. Welcome to our guest, Mr. Gary Francis from Australia.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Sir Gary. Yeah. Um, we're doing part one and part two. So we always start 7 p.m. every Saturday for Mr. Gary Francis, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. English version, of course. And he is an author of Pathways to Resonance, writing books and audiobook. Was it podcasts or audiobooks as well?
Yeah, they're not an audio, but e-publish. The
Ebook,
yeah,
ebook as well. Yeah,
e-books. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, yeah. He's going to take you to Pathways to Resonance. So it's all yours, Mr. Gary. Oh, maybe you have to lead our short prayers first. You want to
Yes,
lead, or you want me to lead prayer, or you want to pray,
that would
or
be great. Thank you.
okay, okay. Heavenly Father, thank you for your guidance. Forgive us for getting ahead of your plans and help us to know when to stop and listen to your direction. Your ways are perfect. Lord, thank you for offering gentle grace in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. Okay, Sir Gary, thank
Amen.
you so much for coming today. Good evening, everybody. And to all the viewers, please share and welcome to ask any question. Whatever you think that you don't understand and you want to share, please comment down below so we are able to help. Thank you so much. Okay, all yours, Sir Gary.
That's all right. Thank you very much. Is my volume okay? By the way, you can hear okay.
Perfect.
Yeah,
All
perfect.
good,
Okay.
yes.
We were chatting before the session opened, and I asked your permission to share something that happened from last time I was here last Saturday, and I really wanted to pick up on the thread that happened during that conversation. One of your viewers asked a question about wearing a mask, and I did answer it, but it caused me to think that that was a very specific question about COVID, and obviously that's the pressure of late that's been in the headlines and the highest profile around the world, right?
Mm.
For me, though, however, the whole COVID pandemic now is actually, I wouldn't say fading into the background, but it's certainly not, for me, the central point of focus anymore. I mean, to start with, people can research this, and you've got to go and look up your own answers and find evidence of this for yourself, right? So please don't take me as being any authority. I would just encourage you to look out for these things yourselves and do your own research on everything I'm saying. The survival rate from COVID for anyone sub 70 years old is 5 nines. So you've got a 99.999% chance of surviving COVID if you are younger than 70 years old and you are a healthy person.
Mm.
It is not the Black Plague. It is not, something that's wiping out millions and millions and millions of people around the world. what we've been victims of is propaganda.
Yeah.
And the government rhetoric, the corporate rhetoric, and everything else is just reinforcing that propaganda. Please go and look at the survival rates by the age of citizens around the world. Anything younger than 70-year-old, as long as you don't have any, existing issues, your survival rate is 99%.
Yes.
So you've got much less than 1% chance of dying from COVID if you get it and you're healthy. Yet the governments around the world would have us believe that if you're going to catch COVID without a vaccine, you're going to be dead. Right. Well, that's nonsense. Just emphatically, categorically, backed up by research papers, backed up by many, many, many medical professionals that are speaking out right now. Your survival rate on COVID is beyond 99%. So fear about wearing masks, right? Fear about getting injections or not. I don't pay hardly any attention to any of that anymore, and it's certainly not my central focus. But COVID and the propaganda that's being pushed towards us is part of a larger agenda for the New World Order, the New World Government, the United Nations, all of those. They're telling us they want to take over the world and control the world organizations. COVID is just one string in the bow. If you really want to get educated, and I'm trying not to instill fear when I say these things, please go and have a look what's happening to the food distribution networks around the world right now. Please go and look at the amount of governments that are paying farmers to destroy crops on the land, rather than harvest the food. Please go and look at the amount of food processing factories that have been catching fire around the world of late. Please go and have a look at the pressure that's on most countries to receive a digital passport, which then starts to offer the governments and offer the corporations complete insight into all of your daily movements, right? These things, the impacts of those on our freedoms is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. A company called BlackRock right now is going to buy from Ancestry.com $4.7 billion worth of purchase. They're going to buy Ancestries.com DNA database of everyone that's voluntarily done a DNA test and sent that back to Ancestry.com. Well, that's being brought by private corporations right now. That's your information that is being sold to corporate interest. So to answer the question about wearing the face masks, that's a really small part right now of a global agenda to see virtually every citizen on this planet give up their personal lives, and the fidelity of their personal lives will be handed over to corporations and governments. There is a lot more going on right now around the world than COVID. But please check this information. Go and find it out for yourself and discover what's really going on. But interested in wearing a mask tells me just a view, perhaps a limited view on the fear of not wearing a mask, right? Well, if we start with the premise that COVID survival rate is beyond 99%, what's wearing a mask all about? It's only a tiny little section of a very global agenda. And for those that haven't exposed themselves to these agendas, if you've got a pen and paper there, please write down Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030. Both of those are worth investigating. Please have a look at a guy called Klaus Schwab's and go and see what he's saying. Please look up the Georgia Guidestones, which were 10 commandments erected in stone in the state of Georgia in 1980. The very first commandment on those Georgia Guidestones says the population of the earth needs to be only at 500 million people.
Wow. What are they going to do? Kill us?
Well, it's a good question, right? And those are much, much better and deeper questions to be asking ourselves, other than should I wear a mask or not? So I just
Yeah.
wanted to, I've been thinking about that during the week, and I just wanted to sort of circle back and try and expand the limits of thinking around COVID into the global things that are going on around us.
Mm.
I used to import products from America. A container used to cost me somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 US to get a container from
Wow.
America to Australia. That same
Wow.
container right now is going to cost me more than $20,000 to have that on the ship. And it is going to be 6 to 8 weeks after I pay that money before my container
Wow.
gets loaded onto a boat, right? So
Wow.
what happens to the countries that are all hooked into
Mm.
the global supply chain, and all these supply
Mm.
components to keep your society running have gone from $1,500 to more than $20,000, and you are
Mm.
going to wait at least 6 to 8 weeks before that container even gets onto a boat.
There'll
So if
be
that's
hunger.
global supplies to keep your train infrastructure running, or your airliners in the air,
Yeah.
then there are much bigger things to be aware of than COVID.
So
So
famine is real, huh? Famine
yeah,
is coming soon.
well, from my research on where this is all coming from, I mean, this isn't happening by chance. This has been well thought out,
Yeah.
well planned. It's been planned for decades, if not centuries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the people who are doing this are right around the planet, right? Australia, New Zealand, France, everywhere around the world. I mean, if
Mm.
you know, even if you just Google protests happening worldwide, right?
Mm.
The English, the Germans, the Swiss, the Swedish, the Italians, the Australians, the Kiwis, the Canadians, the Americans, and all of those nations are protesting about freedom. They're not even
Mm.
protesting anymore about COVID, really.
Mm.
They're protesting about their freedoms being taken away, their liberty to
Yeah.
live a private life is being removed. And that
Yeah.
if there's anything that they're really protesting for, it's their own freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just kind of wanted to round out the answer on that and encourage your listeners to go look this stuff up. Agenda 21, Agenda 30, Klaus Schwab's transhumanism is another one to go and have a very good look at.
Events 201.
Sorry?
Events 201.
Yeah. There's
Is
and
it
there's a
part
number of experts coming out
DARPA?
and
DARPA?
and saying
Mm.
some very, very honest, upright things, and asking the leaders around us right now some very,
Mm.
very sober questions.
And geoengineering as well. It's pretty
Of
real as
course,
well.
yeah, all
Yeah.
chemtrails, all of that stuff, absolutely. GMO and food,
Yeah.
all of
That,
all modified food, and
yeah.
and let's be very clear about this. Sorry, I just bumped my microphone again.
It's
Sorry.
okay.
They want us to remove ourselves from living naturally on this planet. They want us to
Yeah.
eat artificial food.
Mm.
They don't want us to eat meat anymore. They want us to eat crickets and insects, and they want to make the rest of our food for us artificially.
To shorten our life.
It's not going to be good for us, right? The best place we can be is in nature, eating
Mm.
naturally, in
Yeah.
balance with nature,
Yeah.
eating natural good food, drinking good
Mm.
clean water, trying to breathe good clean air. These are the places we need to run into. Running
Yeah.
into a factory of processed food and a supermarket full of plastic wrapped junk
Yeah.
that's not got very much nutrition in it at all.
And I've seen as well in Telegram that they're adding more fluoride to our water.
Yeah, there's 9 countries around the world that are still fluoriding and chloriding our water, chlorinating our water. Australia is one of those too, by the way. Here's the thing with that. It doesn't sound too bad, right? But both of those things are absolutely toxic to us.
Yes.
And the more water you drink, the more poison you're taking in. But there's actually an even more deeper, insidious part to that. I'm a local government or local water board authority, and I want to fluoridate and put chlorine into the water because I'm mandated to do that by some other authority. I'm going to buy the cheapest supplied chlorine and fluoride I can. So how pure even are the chemicals, which are already toxic for us, and we all know that.
Yeah.
How in that bag that supplied from the cheapest supplier that's got
Mm.
chlorine on the outside of it, is everything in that bag actually just chlorine, or is there more things in there that have been added because they're filling up the sacks? They're making more money if they put other things in there.
Yeah.
So even though we might
Yeah.
say that we're fluoridating and chlorinating our water, is that all we're doing? I mean, that's bad enough anyway. We want to see autism on the rise and
Yeah.
Asperger's and all of those attention deficiency disorders.
Yeah.
That's all coming from somewhere, right? So if it is chlorine and fluoride, well, that's pretty bad. But if you think about, if I'm paying $100 for a sack of chlorine and I can buy chlorine from somewhere else for $40, which one am I going to buy? Do I really care that the bag that's marked as chlorine is got a lot of other bad things in it or not?
Other people don't care, right?
And the people don't care.
Care. Yeah.
And be aware, and there's one document I should have kept and I never did, and I haven't since found it. The UN actually has a ruling to say it is completely illegal and heinously bad and criminally charged by allowing general populations to expose themselves to unlimited amounts of toxins. They've got that in writing, and I found that, 8 years ago. Yet the more water I drink, the more poison I'm putting in my body, right? So all of these countries that are fluoridating and chlorinating our water are breaking the law in front of the very people who are trying to take over the world.
Does
But
filter
stuff, right?
does filter help? You
Sorry?
have a good if you have a good filtration, is it going to help?
Yes, yeah. I'm fortunate enough that I have given myself a not too expensive, but a very, very efficient water filter system that, in the heart of it, uses reverse osmosis. So when I'm drinking water out of that system, I'm drinking pure water. But 90%, 95, I don't know, 99% of Australians are ingesting poison every day.
Yeah.
Just
How
by
about
drinking.
rainwater? Some people here has tank
Well,
into their houses.
yeah, well, there's a lot of people that would poo-hoo drinking rainwater because they're putting chemicals into the sky and it's all bad from your that perspective.
Yeah, there's another thing. We have nowhere to go. Hi. They have this geoengineering up there.
I would rather drink water from the sky than drink water from a fluoridated tap.
Yeah, because you can filter it as well, rainwater, before you drink it.
And are they spraying the skies, 24/7, 365 days a year? No, so there's the water from the sky is going to be better. The water from a creek, like if you had to get to that level of trying to find pure water, I'll drink river water and creek water all day long. Nature looks after itself. If you end up with a toxin in the water, like a dead animal or something, you're only going to go 20, 30 meters downstream from that animal and the water's returned to pure again. Nature knows what it's doing, right?
Deep well. We could, dig some, to create some.
I'd really encourage all of your listeners. COVID is a very, very small part of a world agenda. It is very, very large right now for no other reason than propaganda. If the media hadn't told us that there was a pandemic out there and everyone had to be worried, when you stop and think about it, would you really have noticed if you weren't told that it was really bad?
Yeah.
If the TV and radio, newspapers and your local authorities weren't running around screaming their heads off at you that this thing was, going to wipe us all off the planet of the Earth, would we actually know?
Yeah, I think the reason why we are on this live streaming to tell them and let them know what we know.
Yeah. So make no bones about it. There are some very greedy people who are after. Well, they've already got all the money that you could ever want to ever that want power over the whole planet.
Yeah.
That's the big agenda that's actually going on behind the scenes here. COVID is just one string in their bow.
Just greedy people.
And it's to get you to be compliant. Wear the mask, wear the mask, wear the mask. Get isolated. Don't get close to anyone. Everybody's dangerous to everybody else. This is all propaganda.
Yeah.
The survival rate for COVID if you're under 70 years of age and you're healthy, fit, and well and wise, is beyond 99% survival.
Yes. I have a testimony to, because I'm a tailor by profession, and I have a lot of clients coming over here, and they come and fully mask, and I said, I don't believe in COVID. Can you please
Yep.
remove your mask and let's talk normally? And I was with my friend today, putting curtains on her granny flat, and they said that they are all isolated because they are positive COVID positive. And I said, I don't believe in COVID. If I get it, I get it. And if God take my life, I am accepting it. I have my protector. So I said, yeah, I never believe it. They're
But
scared that I'm gonna get it. I said, no, I'm not gonna get it.
well, here's the God part for you, and I'm not trying to be flippant in that language. I'm saying a healthy individual that's living well has way less than 1% chance of dying from this thing.
Yeah, I think we can feel it as well. Like if you are scared that you're getting it, you're gonna get it. But because I'm not scared of getting it, and I
No,
know how to cure myself. I
no.
said, if I get it, I know it's only a flu, and you
Yep.
know exactly what you're gonna take.
Well, please get your listeners. I'd encourage all the listeners to go and have a look at the corona family of disease, right? And that is pneumonia, that is
Yeah.
the flu, that is influenza.
Mm.
In Australia, our numbers on the flu and pneumonia deaths went to 0, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is mathematically impossible and physically impossible in any country to not have anyone die of pneumonia for a year, right? So where did all of that reporting of the numbers go that saw those numbers being at 0 in Australia? They all went to the COVID death count.
Yeah. And they still believe in PCR, and I told them no, PCR don't work. Like you can either the thing gonna say that you're COVID positive, there you are isolated because you did that.
Well, there was a clinician that came onto a group I was having a chat with once in Telegram, and she came in and she gave her qualifications very clearly. She was a very articulate lady, knew what she was talking about, being a clinician in the pathology lab basically her whole life. She put her credentials in front of us, which everyone went, wow, this lady really knows what she's talking about. And then her very next statement was, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And she went on to explain, and I want to explain to your listeners what she went on and said. When they receive a test, they've obviously got truckloads of these tests coming in, right? To be tested for COVID. They swab it all and they put it in a machine, and the machine sometimes goes bing.
Yeah.
Now the clinicians don't know what tests are being performed in that machine. They just know sometimes it goes bing, right? And there's a positive test. And she said their machine actually broke down in their lab, and somebody came in and gave them a replacement, took their one that had broken down away, and then brought it back a few days later, and it was fixed, right? Well, she said, A, we didn't know why it stopped. B, we didn't know what they did to fix it. And the things still sometimes go bing, right? The clinicians around the world that are receiving all of those samples that need to be tested, if they're using those machines, even the highly trained clinicians that we think, we're trusting them for the good result, right? They don't know what they're doing.
There's another example, Mr. Gary. Philippines election is on Monday.
Yep.
And we're using this machine, Smartmatics, to count the vote. I think exactly the same as the PCR. The machine already know who's going to win. Yep. And the vote of the people are just wasted because they vote for this, but the machine decided who's going to win, and the winner is already there. See?
So why aren't we pushing back on all of this and just saying no to living in cashless societies where every transaction is tracked? And what happens if people don't like my social credit score and all of a sudden I can't buy some things or I can't go somewhere because my social credit score is so low because I'm not following the government line that they take my liberty away in a cashless society? I'd encourage every one of your listeners to put down their credit cards, put down their debit cards, put down their tap as they go, and start paying everybody in cash, right?
Oh, yeah.
If they take cash away from us, the fidelity of information that we're going to cough up about our lives is going to be every movement of everything we do will be centrally stored on a database somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
and they're gonna remove cash soon. They're gonna change
well,
it
that's
to
what I mean.
digital.
So like, I only pay for things in cash. I manually go to my local post. In Australia, you can go to your post office and you can pay most of your utility bills at the post office.
Yeah.
I go to my post office. I make the extra effort. I don't pay it by EFTPOS or by direct debit or any of those things, and I go and pay in cash.
Do you think it would help for digital? Because at the moment, I called my mom and my sisters, and one of the politicians paying the voters, like vote buying. Okay, you can come over here. We'll give you this money, and vote for me.
Yep.
There's a lot of corruption in the Philippines, and I said to my mom, please don't accept that money come from the corruption. You receive that, but they're gonna refund that back from you 20 times, maybe 40 times until they finish their terms. So I said no. They said the money come from the government. Yeah, from the government, which is corrupted.
Well, my life, it goes back to the very, very strong roots for me, right? My life wasn't my own. I was given my life. I was born into my life before I arrived. Like I was born here, right? So my life is a gift, and from God, from the divine, from the universe, however we want to say it, our very lives are a gift to us. Right?
Yes.
We are being asked, almost demanded, to hand that gift over to the authorities around us. Now, I object totally and thoroughly to that. But moreover, they're asking me to give what was given to me away. Well, it wasn't even mine in the first place, right? So how can I give them the fidelity of my life when my life wasn't even my own?
Yeah.
Right. So we go back to God's principles, and we go back to we are mightily powerful beings in our own right. Why are we allowing an insidious agenda from global leaders to come in and take my very life from me?
Yeah.
It is that it's that deep at the moment. It is literally a battle of light and darkness.
Yeah, exactly.
But the other part of the answer I wanted to give, if I may, I've done a lot of research. Kind of, you guys know that.
Yes.
I fervently and absolutely, totally believe that mankind is being birthed at the moment into a new conscious awareness where we can live in peace. We can live with each other without hidden agendas. And I liken it to a mother giving birth to a child. Once the child arrives, much celebration, all the pains of labor have been forgotten, and life takes on this fantastic, future-facing view with a child, right? But the mother has to go through labor pains for that delivery to happen.
Yes, exactly.
What's happening in the world at the moment, I think, is very, very similar to that. We are being tested. We are being put under pressure. People will stand on the panic button of COVID for a while, then take their foot off, and then say that there's something else going wrong, and then maybe come back to lockdowns and COVID problems later on. This is exactly the same from my perspective, as a mother going through labor pains. We are going to be tested. They are going to try and stop us doing the things we want to do. Yet I fervently believe that this is actually a time of significant celebration.
Yeah.
Because we are being moved into new conscious awareness around the whole planet. We've got to be truthful here and say to ourselves, we've got some delivery time to go through. There's going to be more coming at us before the baby's born.
So, Mr. Gary, I know that you did your research. Do you agree that because currently we are on Internet of Things, but soon, Internet of Things, so they're putting it on the mobile, but soon, the Agenda 2030 is Internet of Bodies. I mean, they're putting that data into the body so they can monitor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you believe,
Yes, but it goes worse than that. The They want to put sensors in your brain physically so that
Wow.
they can connect
Wow.
you to their web of fabric, right? Well,
Wow.
if you're connected, is that a one-way thing, or might that be a two-way thing? You know, my computer can receive information, but I can also, people can take information from my computer. Now,
Yeah.
if they connect me to their network,
Mm.
what's possible then?
They can erase your probably your thinking, your mind, or
Yep.
what will happen?
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want your listeners to be in fear about this stuff. It is a
Mm.
reality that people are trying to push this here, but we are sovereign beings, you know, God's image. We don't need any of this stuff to thrive, to flourish, to explore our spirituality,
Yeah.
to enjoy life. Right? We don't
Mm.
need any of this nonsense. I was born in the '60s. Our phone was on the wall in our house. We didn't have
Yeah.
mobile. We didn't even
Yeah.
have a TV. I can remember getting the first TV. Right? We don't need any of this technology to live,
Mm.
flourish on this planet.
Yeah.
Um,
True.
we've done it for millennia, and we could do it for millennia going forward without all of this junk. You don't need a mobile phone. Right? They're handy in
Yeah.
case of emergency, absolutely, but
Mm.
you don't need a mobile phone to survive. I don't need a chip on my hand or in my forehead or in my skull
Yeah. Yeah.
to be in God's image. I'm there
Mm.
already.
We have been monitored with our mobile phone. Honestly. Yeah.
Well, if you leave your phone on and have a conversation about, I don't know, a particular brand of shoes, right? And if you're using Facebook, go and have some conversation for a couple of days about shoes. You know, I don't know. I'm just trying to, I don't know, maybe Gucci handbags or something, right? You'll find serendipitously, just by chance, that maybe
Yeah.
some advertising
Wow.
on your Facebook page about the
Yeah.
very things you were only talking about a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Our phones are being used as a weapon against us.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Without
sometimes this Siri talks to me like I'm not talking to you, but it's like, "Hello, can I help you?"
Well, what have we got? We've got Cortana and Microsoft. We've got Ask Siri from Apple.
Mm.
We've got Google listening devices in our home where we can ask Google anything it likes. We like, right? Really convenient. And on the surface, I can see that people would find that really easy to accept. But
Mm.
that's a two-way communication device. That's not one way. And
Yeah.
and and can you tell me that those devices actually turn off and don't listen to you in your home? Can you tell me your mobile
Uh,
phone is not listening to even
I
this
think
conversation?
it's yeah. I think it is listening. It's really even though the TV, the recent TV now, it feels like someone's watching even though it's off.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't need Netflix. We didn't need YouTube.
Mm.
We didn't need Facebook. We didn't need Twitter. Social networks, they're not social. They're the most antisocial thing in the world. I can sit here on the end of my keyboard and abuse somebody else, care nothing for the
Yeah.
words I'm using because I don't know the person. It's
Yeah.
not a social environment.
Mm.
They're tricking you into thinking that that's a social thing to do. The social thing to do is go and talk to your neighbor and go and have a cup of tea together or share a scone and, you know, whatever, and meet people and talk to them face to
Yeah.
face. Turn all
Yeah.
this technology off.
I use my technology during like lockdowns, spending a lot of time in Telegram. This is where I meet you and heard you. And wow, he speak really good. So I've listened to a lot of speakers over there and said, wow, I use
Yeah,
that.
but you've got to be careful in that too, right? Yes, there's a lot of really good information out of there, and
Mm.
there really is. You know, you don't need Telegram for that. You know, there's I don't know 50 or 100 different sources. That's what I'm. But I'm watching people getting caught up in this fear thing and the question about the mask. If I
Yeah.
can play that back to
Yeah.
that, right? That
Stressful.
sounds to me to be like a fear response, right?
Yeah.
So if I spend all my waking hours at the end of a keyboard learning all of this bad stuff that's coming towards me, I'm
Mm.
actually handing over the time of my life to their
Mm.
agenda and doing that, right?
Mm. Mm.
So yeah, I'm on Telegram. I use Telegram, and that's where we met, and it's been
Yeah.
delightful ever since. But
Yeah.
I limit the time I spend in those places because I know there's no life there. Most of what you're going to learn when you're in those
Yeah.
places is how bad some of these
Yeah.
agendas actually are.
I
right?
was
So
curious. So like I join everyone, and then maybe I can pick up something. And I come to the time that I said, "Oh, this is stressful. I'm not learning anything." So I go study the Bible or do something,
yeah,
inspirational, rather than spending a lot of time in Telegram. Is not going to help me. It's just
no,
like
well,
dragging my energy now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I turned off the TV and the radio and all those things 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I limit my time in those platforms. I'm trying not to use the word social media, or the word social media. I
Yeah.
limit my time in there because I know that life isn't really there. I can get a broad spectrum of skimming of information, but you see, most of the messages in some of those social media platforms are fear based. Oh, look at this. This is really bad. You
Mm.
got to know how bad this is, right? All
Mm.
that's actually doing is putting the fear into me.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So, and
Yeah.
that's not healthy. That's where I get cancer from, right? I walk around,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So just don't let yourself drown in the bad information, right?
and
Be
and
in,
and then this is what I've noticed as well. Too much listening to those people on Telegram, you become fear mongering. It's like,
yes,
oh, do this, do that. It's like there people are angry. So instead of just sharing good things like what you are sharing,
yeah.
like let them know, but not fearing them.
Well, go and knock on your neighbour's door and get to meet the neighbour that you've lived next door to for a few years and you don't even know their Christian names, right? Go
Yeah,
say hi.
yeah,
You might get the door slammed in your face. Well, go and knock on another neighbour's door then and see who they are. Yeah,
yeah,
let's
exactly.
get back to being the kindness of man.
Yeah,
There's some terms out there. Humanity means something, right? This
yeah.
means kindness and love and compassion and support. Why don't we
Agree.
give those things a go for a while and see how that
Mm.
happens, right? Rather than
Yeah.
spending 5 hours a day on Telegram, why don't I spend
Oh,
four and
God.
a half hours going and making a whole bunch of new friends?
More than that, sometimes just locked down, got nothing to do. I feel like, oh my God, what am I doing here? It's like, I have to tell my family, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm kind of, they're angry with me because they don't get me. But actually, I am like, pick up a lot
Yeah.
of negative thing over there. Yeah.
So somewhere in the middle of this thing, there's balance. I'm not very familiar. I'd be the first to commit that I don't know much about Manila and the Philippines and those areas, right? But there's nothing wrong with being informed as long as it doesn't
Yeah.
consume you. And
Yeah.
I've mentioned them, right? Agenda 20, Agenda 30, um, transhumanism, Klaus Schwab's,
Digital
the reset,
currency,
the
the
build
reset,
back
the
better,
great, yeah. Yeah.
the
Oh, we talk
reset we
about
have to
that.
have.
When are you going to talk about that? Build back better. Because I'm interested with
Yeah,
that.
well, we've
What
done
is,
the presentation on there, as you've seen. So maybe I
yeah.
can come and do some of those presentations live
Next week. Yeah.
into your show.
Next.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so if you're not aware of those things, go and have a look at them, but please don't let them consume you in fear. Hold
Yeah.
on to the fact that there is a God's plan in place here right now,
Yeah.
and with every cell in my body, I fervently believe we are being put through labor pains for the delivery of new consciousness to mankind as a species.
Mm.
Yeah, we've got some tough things to get through as the labor pains, but there's no need to be in fear of what you can't control. Be
Yeah.
informed and
Yep.
then make your decision to put investment into yourself and to your neighbors and your family and
Mm.
friends by
Mm.
being human to them and being kind and being mankind. Let's give that a go. I don't need to be a reset from a globalist industrialist agenda perspective. Why don't I just give being a human being and being kind to my fellow man a go and see how that works out?
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be complicated. I don't need technology to do that. I
Mm.
just got to make the right choices, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're consumed in fear, you will get like your feet will be stuck in concrete. You won't know where to move, and you'll feel like you're drowning. Well, that's not
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about having a level of awareness of what's going on globally around you, for you to be able to discern for yourself what you're going to do about it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's a good thing that I like join everything, but actually myself telling me, what are you doing? this is not healthy. This is not good. You can't even sleep anymore because you think the world is going to end. You
Yeah,
feel that, but no.
yeah. It feels like a doom, like a pressure point
Yeah, it
crushing
is.
you down, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's not a good. That's where. I mean, let's get back to basics here. Our language is being stolen. If I use the word profit, people think
Mm,
about money. Well, profit should be the planet should benefit from my actions, or I should benefit from my actions, or my family
mm,
and friends should benefit from my actions. That's profit, right?
mm, mm,
Um,
mm.
so there's a lot of words that are being stolen from us that really we should never allow them to take our language from us. You know,
Is this
um,
the part of their plan to?
uh, absolutely. Um,
Yeah.
and even I don't know how much exposure Philippines and Manila get to this sort of level of fidelity, but they're
Mm.
bringing in all of these different sexual states of
Oh,
you can
again.
identify as a girl, you can identify as an elephant on Wednesday, you can be a cat and a dog, right? That they are deliberately destroying the structure of who we actually are.
Yeah,
That is a
yeah,
deliberate action to confuse our children and to put them into a state of virtual numbness, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's insidious, and it's against the Bible. It's against
Yep.
everything natural.
Yeah.
It's insanity. That's about the only thing I could put it into. It's insanity. Don't think about like here's a thought that I'd put to your listeners, right? Excuse me, that's an alarm system. Um,
Okay.
Rather than thinking about your rights, because we're all
Yeah.
taught about legal rights, right? Lawyers are all
Yeah.
over the place, politicians are all over the place, and they're all
Yes.
telling us what our rights are and what rights we can have on
Mm,
Wednesday as opposed to Friday.
mm.
Don't think about your rights. How about thinking about your obligations?
Yeah.
How about
Exactly.
thinking about your obligation to help the people around you?
Exactly. That's what we need to do here. Our mission to do. Yep.
Yeah,
Mm.
even in this instance, how about your obligation to look after yourself and your own wellness,
First.
your
Yeah.
mental, your
Mm.
mental stimulus,
Mm.
exploring yourself in the arts, using the right side of your brain to go and have a look at arts or music,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then your obligation to look after everyone around you. Like before our rights should be anywhere,
Yeah.
what happened to our obligations to live well?
Yeah.
I don't need the law to tell me what I need to do to live well, right?
Yeah.
I can choose that for myself.
For me, every time I feel negative, I actually turn into the Bible and I feel like recharged as soon as I hear that. Because every day we have struggles, trials, and I just give everything to Him, whatever happened. And if it's my turn, to die, why not? I can't control that. I cannot control everything.
I can see that to be, tremendously of advantage to everybody
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you're not designed to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders.
yes,
We're just not.
exactly.
It will kill you if you try and carry that stuff day by day
Yes.
by day by day. You will exhibit some disease, kidney
Mm.
failure, cancer, whatever.
Yes.
You will be in dis-ease, which is what that word means, right? Dis-ease. It's not
Yes.
disease, right? It's
This.
dis-ease.
Wow.
So,
That's a
so
nice good.
well, that's how our language is being stolen. If we recreation, this English word recreation, that comes out so easy, right? But it's actually to be recreated,
Yes.
right?
Every
So,
day is a new day.
oh, to go out and kick a ball with my kids, to
Yeah.
listen to music, to go and paint is
Yeah.
recreating yourself. You're not carrying
Yeah.
the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're making investment to recreate yourself, right?
Yes.
Recreation,
Yeah.
being recreated. So giving all the stresses of the world to God on a daily basis so you don't carry them and you're leaving your life free
Yeah.
for you to find yourself and to recreate yourself. I mean, that's a magic thing to do.
Yeah. And yeah, I really feel that. So I'm just so thankful as well with this COVID thing because without the COVID, I will never learn to know Him.
Yeah.
Because before I was trying to fix the problem, but other people you cannot do that because it's only God can do that,
Yep.
our Creator. So
Well,
Yeah.
So, I mean, this goes back to basic philosophy of there cannot be light without dark, because you can't see the light
Yeah.
unless you can see the
Exactly.
shadow, right? So you've
Mm.
got to have some darkness so you can see the light.
Exactly. Yes, that's very good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to be tested from time to time to actually know where we're standing and upon what ground we stand. If life was just marshmallows and good times,
Mm.
you're not taking the whole experience on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, trouble comes at me and pressure comes at me, and I'll give what I feel to God. That's great, because it frees you up of disease, right? And you can go and live a recreation life. I mean, that's where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Um, it's insanity to try and. I can't cure the world. I can't stop what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day.
Mm. Exactly. Yeah.
But I can give the worries to God and then say,
Yes.
what am I going to do to build community and to feel
Yeah.
safe around me by opening my doors up to friends and family
Yes.
and getting
Yeah.
on with enjoying life.
It feels so good, huh? With working with a lot of people out there rather than yourself.
Yeah.
I don't see any happiness just looking after myself here. But if I'm outside with other people, with my friends, it feels so good.
Well,
Like
I challenged a few people. Some of these things are silly, right? But they're not. They're deeply meaningful when you experience them. One of the challenges I put out to a group not so long ago was to smile at someone, right? Not
yes, yeah,
not big, not didn't need a whole bunch of intellect, right?
yeah,
But if you were sitting on a train commuting to work, or you were on a bus, or in your local shopping mall,
yeah,
or whatever, and you see people, try smiling at them and just see how you feel.
yes,
Watch their reaction of someone's going, hey, it's nice to see you because I'm smiling at you, right? One lady came back and she was just, her feedback was, she was bubbling with energy because she knew she'd touched 3 or 4 people's lives that day by
yeah,
choosing to smile at them, right?
yeah.
Simple stuff, but bridge building, kindness of man,
Yes,
finding out who we are, being brave to give it a go and see how she felt. And she was so bubbly and energy
yeah,
charged when she came back. She said that was amazing. And all
yeah.
I asked them to do was to smile.
Mm. But I think other people can tell if the person who smile at you is really true. You know that there's energy, positive energy in there that they can see, which is other people smile, but there's something negative energy in there. Have you
Yeah.
experienced that?
So
Yeah,
if you get people who fake that sort of stuff won't last long because they
no,
know they're faking it from a soul perspective, right?
yeah,
But for that transaction to happen, there's got to be a giver and a
yeah,
receiver. The
yeah,
giver has to give
yeah,
openly, without limitation and without reservation. So there's no
yeah,
hooks.
yeah,
I'm smiling at you because I'm choosing to give you my gift.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah,
There's the authentic. You being an authentic person, and then as
exactly.
long as the receiver is open to receiving that, it's a
Yeah.
perfect transaction. Right? But if you're entering that transaction with bad intention, uh, you know, you're
Oh,
you're not going to feel
yes.
good anyway.
Yeah, there are a lot of people there giving away not just like material things, but they have another intention. It's not really from the heart, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, well, listen to the inside of you for who's good in your life and who's not good. You know, um,
yeah, mm,
you'll feel your way through that sort of maze quite easily. The more you go inside and look for
yeah,
direction from upstairs and from your soul, um, you'll find your way quite easily.
yeah. But this is what I've noticed, Mr. Gary. I used to work really, really hard, but I tried to save more money instead of giving. But the money like fly away just like that, gone quickly. But since I started giving, I mean, the more I give, the more money coming in. That's what I've noticed. You know,
Yeah.
the miracle of giving.
Some of the universal laws out there, and one of them, and I made up a bunch of these myself over time, right? The universe doesn't like a vacuum. So if you create
Yeah,
space, give it a go. Go and
yeah,
clear out a cupboard in your house
Yeah.
Like empty it, just throw away everything that's in there or reorganize it, right? Come back to that cupboard in a year's time. It'll be full again. The universe doesn't
Yeah.
have a gap, right? The more you give away, the more vacuum you're creating that you've got a need for more money or for more things to give away.
Yeah.
The universe will honor that. God
Yeah.
will honor that, right? If you become a giver,
Mm.
you'll get more to give because you're doing it from a pure heart and
Yeah.
you're blessing the people around you. So the
Mm.
universal law from, and I've made it up. I really don't know whether it's scientifically proven or not. The universe can't tolerate a vacuum. So if you create a gap, i.e., you're giving away things to other people, and that leaves you, as you're saying, a little bit maybe less for money or whatever.
Yeah.
Your own testament is the more you give away, the more you get given to give away.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I've noticed. It's like, that's like when you close like that, how can you receive? Because it's closed.
Yeah.
Will fall in a thing. So it's like when you open it, more coming. It's like, wow, it's really, yeah, it's really true. Because I've been listening to law of attraction for about 3 years.
Okay.
And I've learned to be positive before I read the Bible. So I said, oh, I'm blessed that learn the law of attraction first before I read the Bible, because I
Yeah.
just noticed that the law of attraction books took some part of the book in the Bible and said, wow, this is where they got it.
Yeah.
But the law of attraction don't use God. They use positive energy in there.
Yeah.
So like, okay, it's the same thing, like similar, but yeah.
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 There's a whole raft of things to say about the laws of attraction and those sort of things.
Yeah.
But I'd go back to your listeners and say to your listeners, please, please, please stop looking for the answers to be given to you from some external source, the newspaper, the media, the radio, the politicians. Start looking for the answers for yourself by yourself, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Start going inside yourself and saying,
Inside.
what rings true to me in this situation, right? The answers are not external to us. The answers
Yeah.
are behind ourselves, asking ourselves better questions. We've got the answers inside of us, and God will give us the rest if we don't have them anyway.
Yeah.
But you've got to learn to ask really good questions so that your answers become yours and you can live by them and sort of own them, right? If you're looking for the answers to come from you, from the media, the radio, the newspapers, the politicians, from the corporate people around the world, this is not the place to receive any answer from ever.
Yeah. Yeah. So the do good and good things will come. So I
Yeah.
do really believe that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's brutal. You've got to be honest with yourself. Why did I get angry and yell at that person? Something inside me triggered me to behave really badly, and I chose to get violent or angry or aggressive in that moment. That's on me. That's my responsibility.
Yeah.
If I want to change that behavior, the answers have to be mine. And I have to take responsibility for my actions and start asking myself some tough questions. So it's not an easy path. You're constantly reviewing yourself and watching yourself stuff it up, but you're making the daily endeavor to get better.
I've experienced that. It's actually the ego and pride. Okay, you are wrong, I am right, and then you just like, it never fix. It becomes bigger instead of just be quiet, and doesn't matter if she's wrong or you're right. Just be quiet.
Yeah,
I think that's all. That will solve the problem.
I'll try to not look away from the camera too much. I'll try and share with you what I wrote today. It was a very simple thing, but I just want to quote it correctly. I publish articles under Pathways to Resonance, but I do a lot of mimes as well, the graphical things with a few words in them.
Okay.
This was one that I did today, and I'll share that with your listeners just so that they can hear a difference in thinking, right? Just give me 1 second. I'm sorry to distract. I just think it might be pertinent to this conversation. I just don't want to say it slightly wrong because it'll sort of lose its meaning a bit. But if I can't find it, then we'll just carry on. But
That's okay.
I'll endeavor to try and find it.
We have other viewers here that are not Christians. They're Muslims. We are non-denomination actually over here. So other people, doesn't connect with Christianity. They have their own like Judaism,
Sure.
Taoism, Islam. So this is what you're doing is good things. Do good, and good will come.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I can't find it easily, so I'll stop. Is that
that's
one?
okay.
No, I can't find it easily, so I won't distract the conversation for any longer. Sorry.
It's okay.
We are, and the Bible says this, right? We are infinitely powerful if we can only understand that we were. And I'm not quoting a chapter and verse of the Bible, obviously, when I say that, but I'm paraphrasing. But they don't want us to know that. They don't want us to get out there and go, crikey, I did that, and it was me that did it. I didn't need anybody else's help to achieve that result, whatever it is. They don't want us to know how powerful we actually are. They want us in fear.
Mm,
They want us to believe their propaganda,
mm.
and they want us to look to them for the answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not a healthy, neither any of those things are not healthy places to find yourself.
Yeah. The only way is
Because,
to focus to the creator, our creator.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the problem when we focus to the man. The Bible says, do not focus to the man, focus only to God.
yeah,
That's the thing there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a slightly different take on life, as I've shared with you, than just what's written in the Bible. And I don't live to that the same way I used to. But in principle, we're here for an experience where we're given our lives by this
Mm.
divine thing that's around us. And
Mm.
life's supposed to be fun and enjoyable. It's not supposed to
Yeah.
be full of work and stress.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
make your life more simple. Keep your commitments small. Try and keep your obligations small so you
Yeah.
can achieve the obligations you've said you'll achieve for other people, and
Mm.
and go about in this world being a kind person.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at our obligations to live well, and let's strive to try and live better together.
Yeah.
Does it
Exactly.
need to be more complicated than that?
Mm. Enjoy life while we're still alive, because you never know if you're alive tomorrow, tonight. Some people doesn't wake up anymore.
I agree
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
I've in the pathways to resonance, I've covered a lot of these topics, and in authoring all of these articles that I've written. Life's just supposed to be a ride. We're supposed to enjoy it.
Yes.
We're supposed
Yep.
to experience it fully without reservation,
Yep.
and we're supposed to let it recreate us almost daily.
Yeah.
Um,
I think other people needs to wake up really that the life is just like a dash, very short. It's like a dot. When like other people think that they're gonna live forever and they can keep their whatever they have in this world. I experienced that before. I was a hoarder. Like I want to keep this, I want to keep this forever until I get old. But suddenly I realized that do I gonna get old? I don't know. You see, like I was trying to save and said maybe the money that I'm gonna save, I'm not going to use it anyway. Someone will use it, so I'll be rather spend it and use it for good. You see,
the,
yeah,
the
that's what
more see who said that? One of the Rockefellers or Rothschild. It was one of the Rothschilds guys, right? He was asked a question once. I forget his Christian name now, but he was asked a question: how much money do we need?
exactly. Yeah.
And do you know what the answer is that he gave?
What? What
He
is it?
said, just a little bit more.
Enough to
Right?
live.
They want you on the wheel of commerce. They want you to work at your work for as long as they can possibly hold you there, so that you
Oh,
don't have an opportunity to go out and explore who you really are. So how
wow.
insidious is the answer from a man that's already got all the money you could ever possibly want to have, and truckloads more,
Yeah.
to for his answer to be, how much money does a man need? Just a little bit more. This is about the mouse running on the mouse wheel. Just stay on the mouse wheel, keep going to work, keep earning all this money. You just need to buy the next appliance. You need the next little shoes or dress or suit or whatever,
Mm.
but just keep working, right? That's killing us.
Yeah.
The stress.
Killing the poor, killing the poor people more because other rich people are so greedy. They don't want
Well,
to share.
we have enough food. And we can produce enough food that we shouldn't have any people that are dying of starvation on this planet. We're losing something like it's an absolutely obscene number. It's like 15,000 people a day are dying from starvation. The only reason they're dying from starvation is because they can't pay for the food. It's not profitable to send them the food so that they can live a life. It's cheaper to let them die.
Yeah, but I think someone put that at the top, like, the ruler, they're doing it for the other country to suffer. Because if they are willing to help, those people are not, dying in hunger.
Yeah.
I mean, because other people just want to show that they're helping. They say that philanthropists, but they're showing it. I don't know, for some reason. Because
Yeah.
we can help without telling people that we're helping. You see, like in secret.
Yep.
We don't. God can see that. Other people, we don't need to show it to people.
So, I just encourage your listeners, please, 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 and I know you guys say this a lot too, please go out and have a look for yourselves. Get through the smog and the fog and the haze of the mainstream media, wherever it's trying to encroach itself on your life. Look through that. Look beyond it, right? Go find some answers. Well, not even answers. Go find your own information and process that information. See what it means to you at a personal level.
Yeah.
And then let's go explore being kind to each other, being friendly,
Exactly. Yeah.
creating community, helping someone out who's in need. I mean, what's wrong with helping an old, I'm being sexist, but helping an old lady cross the road? What's wrong with stopping and giving up 5 seconds of your life to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mr. Gary, you said you do a lot of research. What website do you go for research? Do you go other like Google, StartPage, DuckDuckGo? Because Google, I think, has censorship.
I don't use Google at all.
Yeah.
I use a browser called Brave, which keeps me a bit more secure than Edge
Brave?
and Chrome and everything else. Yeah, it's just called Brave. So if you just go to brave.com. I was using DuckDuckGo, but DuckDuckGo have started to filter their information too. So they are starting to give you a skewed answer.
Right.
And Brave itself has just launched a new search engine capability, and I've actually switched on to that.
Okay.
But I would never, ever use, I've got to be a bit careful, I suppose. Some Microsoft products out there that you might use to surf the web. I won't go anywhere near those.
Yeah.
Google Chrome, anything that's got Google at the back end of it, I won't touch that. But I mean, can I show you what I do for research?
Yes, please. Would be good for the viewers to see it.
I read books.
Oh, yes. That's really, really good.
Old-fashioned, no batteries required.
Yeah.
I read books.
Yeah.
Right? And I've got more books to read than you can poke a stick at. And why do I read books? Because as my body's taking and my brain's taking the information in, my imagination is working, right?
Yes.
I'm thinking about what I'm reading and I'm processing that. If I rely just on technology, I don't have to think at all. It's just conveniently provided for me, right?
Yeah.
So I deliberately go and find really interesting books, and I've got a library that's growing all the time.
Wow.
And I deliberately go and read books after books after books, right?
Yeah.
I
wonder, I can connect with you because, it's good to touch the books rather than reading in the computer. I've experienced it. I cannot learn reading in a computer, like screen. I said, because during lockdown, we're doing a lot of Zoom class. Class. And I said, I'm writing the essay, but there's something wrong. It doesn't go in. Like, because we cannot go to the library to borrow books.
Yep.
But what I'm reading on the screen, it doesn't really go in.
No.
I screw up with my essay. I don't know why it's not, coming in there. But holding a book, it feels so good.
Yeah, well, we've got these things called libraries, right? You can go down and not even buy a book. You can just check it out of a library and read it over a week or two and give it back and let somebody else do the same. I mean,
But lockdown, you asked us to go online, and I said I don't like
Okay,
online. Yeah,
yeah,
I can't go
different
online.
circumstance there, right? But
Mm, it's hard.
I suppose one of my favorite sayings right now is, if you can do it now, do it, right? Because you
Mm,
might not be
yep,
able to do that tomorrow.
yep,
So if you can get to a library today,
yeah,
go get to a library and go and have a look at topics in there and take a couple of books out and do some reading.
yep, yep,
Who knew? Who knew that
yeah,
we could still learn from books?
yep. Yeah, exactly. Library actually makes me like it feels like a home to me. As soon as I get into the school library, I feel like wow, like like you go crazy with where you wanna go because
Yeah,
Bible school they have a lot of books, really,
sure.
like
But big
thousands.
companies and big corporate interests. I don't know what the difference is. Any large corporation, I try and avoid. Right,
What?
and I'll pick on the technology guys for a second. I won't go anywhere near Google. I won't go anywhere near Facebook. I won't go anywhere near a lot of those big platforms. They do not have my interests at heart, right? And if it's free, then I am paying such a high price. The reason it's free is because they're getting more from me
Mm,
in
mm,
value than what it would be worth to try and charge me to use their service, right? So
mm,
if it's free, you've really got to question what price you're actually paying. And that includes Telegram. Telegram's owned by, well, it was started by two Russian guys.
yeah.
So, and I believe it's still being managed from Russia, and I believe it's still in private hands, but it's free. So who's paying the price and where are they making money from, right?
Yeah. How's
Um,
that?
So I
Who's
try and
paying?
stay away from as many of the
Telegram.
big platforms. I'll go and use stuff like I've got BitChute open here, and I'll
Yeah.
go and look at something in Facebook briefly, but I won't type in any messages into Facebook. I stay away
Oh,
from all those things. All the big browsers that, hey, we just want to do this little survey, or we want to scrape your hard drive so we can take all the data and process who you really are, so we can tune our advertising to you. I stay away from all of that stuff. Um,
because you're aware what they can do.
well, and here's a mobile phone. It's still handy to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've loaded one application on that phone
Only. Wow.
that has been out of the box. Oh no, I've got two. I've got Telegram on the phone, and I've got one little word puzzle game that I play sometimes just to keep my mind active.
Yeah.
I have no other applications on that phone other than what came out in the box. I won't load
Wow.
them up. I just won't load them up. They they ask for. We've all seen it, right? We need access to your contacts. We need access to your call logs. We need access to. Right? That's not because that's what's required to run the application on most cases.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they want to scrape your data.
Yeah.
So why put all these applications on your phone? I don't understand why people want to do that.
I'm guilty. I need to start deleting them.
Well, you can get to most things using a browser. So I have Brave loaded on the phone. I have that's another application. So I have three. I have a VPN client on my phone, and if I'm
Mm,
going to search for information, I'll start the VPN, and
mm, mm.
I'll use a browser to get the information. I won't load the applications. They are using your phone as a weapon against you.
Exactly. I need to start doing that. Yeah, I think I'm so curious that I want to know a lot of things out there before they get me. So that's the only reason that I want to
Yeah.
know what's going on to the world, who's wrong, who's right. Because I don't listen right away. I don't believe to what I hear. So I have to, when I see that, I have to research if it's true or not before I believe things like that. So I
Yep.
am the person who cannot believe right away. Yep, I have to dig deeper. Mm,
Well, you've got to trust yourself, right?
yeah,
Is the information you're getting, does it feel right to you? If it doesn't feel right to
yeah,
you, don't believe it.
yeah. That's
Right?
what I'm curious. I said, how come I don't believe? I don't believe that stuff. Okay, let's see. Yeah.
Well, go and have a look. I'd encourage you, to go right back full circle where we started this conversation. I'd encourage all of your listeners to go out and look at don't look at the death rates, don't look at the mortality, don't look at the jabs, don't look at the masks. go and have a look at the actual statistics for survival rates to do with COVID. They are 99.99% survival, right? And if the media hadn't told us that that pandemic was around us, we wouldn't know. It would just be the flu and pneumonia and some other worse bout of, influenza, perhaps.
Yeah.
Right? Who gave us all that stuff? Well, we allowed them to give it all that stuff because we spend all our time on our devices
Yes,
listening
and
to
that's
that
what they want.
propaganda.
And that's what they want.
Yep.
To focus there. Oh,
Well, every
wow.
minute I spend looking at their agenda, whoever they are, is a minute less I get to be me.
Yeah. Do you ever consider yourself like bringing a pen and paper and go to the mountain and just write whatever you think?
You mean
Just write.
like my book that I carry with me the
Yeah.
whole time, that I write all my notes in and do all that work?
Yeah.
I
That's what I'm
that's
thinking. I
right
don't
beside
need.
me.
Yeah, you don't need any gadgets. Just bring your paper and pen, a lot of it, and just write there.
Yep.
No, nothing, no connection at all. And I think it feels so good away from all these technologies.
Yeah. You might laugh and say, well, that's old fashioned and who the hell wants to carry around a book, right? But my imagination goes when I start writing things down and actually interacting with my thoughts. My thinking gets richer and stronger. What I'm writing gets deeper. I experience none of that if I'm behind a keyboard or I'm looking at somebody else's video.
Yes.
So I've gone right back. I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news. I haven't watched the Weather Channel. I don't watch CNN. I haven't turned on the TV from that perspective for 10 years, probably easily. I don't have the radio.
Wow.
The radio never plays in my car. I never have the radio broadcasting into my car ever. I still listen to music. I watch movies and things, but that's in my time and my leisure. And from a local storage perspective, I store everything locally. So I don't stream anything, right? So I still watch TV, but I don't follow anything mainstream on TV and everything else. I read books and I write in books, right? I've found these things to be reliable. The batteries never run out. They don't need charging. And when I'm writing stuff down for my own life, even a diary, I'm interacting with myself. And I think that's way more important than sitting there like a zombie watching a TV.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I can feel I can feel your positive energy there. That's what you're doing.
Well, I mean, you want to see the most insidious part of it? They're making programs about people watching TV.
Yeah, exactly. There's a number. I've seen a number that people watching, they're hypnotized. So I don't watch TV as well.
No. Well,
and then if I try to watch the movie, I just sleep through it. Can't even finish halfway. Like, okay, I don't understand. I'm not concentrating. My mind is with other thing rather than watching TV. I haven't watched TV as well for a while now.
I'd like to say something to your viewers too, to your listeners. I am actually pro technology. I genuinely, honestly mean that. But let me explain in what context I'm saying that, please. At the moment, technology is being used to spy on you. It's being used to control you, and it's being used to profile who you are and what you're likely to do in the future, so we can sell you goods and services, right? That they've worked out that you might be interested in based on the information they've stolen from you. Technology of itself doesn't do that. The intention of mankind, well, not mankind, because it's not exactly being kind. The intention of greedy people to take your information and use it against you is what's wrong.
Yeah.
So if we could profit, like properly quality of life profit from the ownership of mobile phones and TVs and everything else, I'd be very, very pro all of that stuff, right? The bad thing is at the moment, the technology of itself is being used with bad intention. If the intention was, let's track Gary's life or your life and make suggestions for you that we genuinely think would be your best interests, not just buying the latest washing machine or the latest, I don't know, MP3 player or something, right? If the technology was being used to actually really genuinely improve the quality of our life, then we should be using more and more and more technology. But the thing that's wrong at the moment isn't the technology, it's the insidious intent of how the technology is being used. So I'm pro automation, I'm pro AI to a degree. That
Yeah.
needs to be governed very carefully as well.
Mm.
As long as the intention makes the planet a better place to live or makes me a better person on the planet to live.
Yeah.
But at the moment, that's being stolen in deceit and used against us. That's what's wrong with
Yeah.
the tech. So there's nothing wrong with the technology. It's the intention of how we're using it against.
Changing our mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, other people use it to learn the word of God's word, and it is good.
Yeah.
I use that to listen over and over again. If I am busy working, I listen to audio Bible, and if I'm driving or I'm gardening, I listen to that
Yep.
just to feed my mind, just charge it. Like, because sometimes you have this negative thought, but if you listen to those positive thing and it just recharge you, like, whoa, I feel good.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll give you something I did quite a number of years ago, and I did it for about 4 years. Um, in my car, so I'm employed, and I had to drive around all over the place, customer meetings and things, right? Most of that time then in driving my car around the place is lost time because if I've got the radio on, I'm just listening to some junk that's being broadcast to me.
Yeah.
So I kind of laughed every time I drove to a meeting. What I did was, what reminded me was I've just got a CD in front of me, right? I burnt a whole bunch of MP3 files onto a
Oh.
CD player, put that in my car.
Oh, okay.
Every time I'm driving around, I'm
Yeah, you
educating
listen.
myself. And what
Yeah.
was funny was I was
I
being
do.
paid by an employer to
Yeah.
be in his or her employee
Yeah.
to drive to customer. They were paying me in those moments for me to be educating myself. I always
Wow.
found that to be
Yeah.
sneakily satisfying somehow.
Yes. I do the same too. I'm educating myself while I'm doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't take too much grey matter to come up with better
No.
answers, right? So I
Yeah.
turned all of that lost time into very productive, including, by the way, the commute to work and the commute
Mm.
home.
Yeah.
I was in a classroom and I did that
Yeah.
for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Every moment I was in the car, I was
Yeah.
teaching myself new stuff.
That is how I educate myself in law of attraction, listening. I said, wow, okay.
Yeah.
But Mr. Gary, it's our time because the pastor is here
Yeah,
again.
sure. Yeah,
I
please.
will see you on next Saturday. Build back better. I will remember that.
Next Saturday I do have an issue. I won't be available next Saturday. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you for telling that.
I'll actually be away from the internet completely.
What happened?
Sorry?
Why are you away from internet
Oh, we're
next
going
Saturday?
camping. We're going to go and sleep
Oh,
in the
yeah,
bush.
yes. Okay.
We're going
You
back
can,
to nature next weekend, so I won't be here next
okay.
Saturday. I'm sorry.
Okay, you can share us your experience
Yeah,
then when you come back in another 2 weeks time.
deliberately
Yeah.
going where there is no
Okay.
technology and no mobile phones.
Wow, thank you so
I'll let
much.
you run.
Yeah, I will see you next week, but I will pray for you at the moment. Okay, Father in
Thank you.
heaven, thank you for this opportunity to bring Mr. Gary Francis here in your presence today. Thank you for the conversations that open the doors to new perspective and insights on the topic vital to our understanding. Thank you for the chance to grow closer, especially the people you touch in your presence, Lord, with your words and wisdom and knowledge that been teached today. As we are ending this online, this part one segment today, we ask that you continue to bless us, especially Sir Gary. She's going and camping next week. May we feel your presence in everyday moments, and we know the joy of sharing uh, the knowledge that you have given to us. And with those who not yet know, we all pray this things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen and amen. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank
Gary.
you very
See you
much.
again in 2 weeks' time. God bless.
Absolute pleasure.
God
Thank you for
bless.
having me.
See you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, Pastor, thank you, Kuya Mel. Napasarap kami. Pastor Villaluz, welcome po. Is in the stream with audio only today. Okay, kasi mahina po yung kanyang internet daw. So, It's okay, Pastor. Can you hear us? Oh, okay. Hold on.
Narinig ako.
Pastor, yes? Are you gonna go? You are in there now.
Wait.
You are in
May
the...
nasigla sa telepon.
Yeah?
Subukan mo nga sa telepono mo.
I will add you here. I will add Kuya Miel so she can, he can, hold on. I will add Miel. Hold on, Kuya. Pastor. How do I add? Invite. How do I do it? Hold on.
Narinig niyo ako?
Opo, I will try and add Kuya Miel.
Malakas sa ganito. Malakas ka pag ganito lang. Pag tayo lang dalawa. Pagka doon sa computer, napakahina. Laging papatay-patay.
Opo. Paano ba mag-ano nito, Kuya Miel? Hold on. Mag-create lang po ako ng... Pastor, mag-create lang po ako ng ano? Mag-create lang po ako ng... Bakit po? Kasi mag-election po dyan. Hindi lang po ha. Mag-create lang po ako ng messenger. Hold on po. Pasensya na po mga viewers. Mahina po ang... Paano ba to? Ay, nasa ano na. Dali ha. And paano ba to? Kalimutan ko yata gumawa ng ano. Teka lang ha. Ng messenger. Hold on.
Yeah, pwede na po tayo dito mag-usap. Ewan ko lang kung paano nyo mai-share kay Brother Ben.
Ito, nakagawa na po ako. Baka pwede po kayo ni Kuya Mel ano dyan. Handay lang po, Pastor. Ayan. I-add ni Kuya Mel. Ayan. Okay na po. Paano ba? Tama ba itong ginawa ko, Kuya Mel? Join the video chat. I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Load lang po. Hindi po kayo makapasok sa live streaming, Pastor? Hindi po kayo makapasok?
Hindi, nakakapasok pero patay-patay, mahina.
Oo nga, okay nga po dito sa messenger. Dali lang po. Saan kayo si Kuya Mel? Si Kuya Mel kasi meron din problem sa niya. Sa kanyang internet, maingay po kanina. Ayan, dali lang po ha.
O yan tayo, pwede tayo mag-usap yan. O malakas ang pag-uusap natin, clear ka.
Siguro, ganun ko.
Pag-iyahan na natin doon sa akuan, mahina.
Ano ba to? Mahina po talaga ba yung dyan sa Pilipinas?
Mahina po. Putol-putol talaga. Kanina pa namin natay. Napapahinga namin kayo. Maya seconds, putol. Tapos nawawala.
Baka po
Sa messenger, mag-usap.
Sa messenger? Hindi ko po alam kung marinig kayo.
Gumagamit ngayon.
Marami,
kasi
no?
sa oras dito, mga alas 2 ng hapon at saka hanggang alas 3 malakas.
Hindi lang po, ha?
Mamaya, lalakas yung iba alas 11. Marami, no?
Ay, narinig po pala, Pastor. Pwede po kayo magsalita, oh. Okay. Okay po. Sige, ilapit ko na lang ganun kasi wala si Kuya Mel. Ewan ko na saan. Sige, ito po. Magpe-prayer po kayo. Ito.
Okay.
Ito po.
Sige, mag-pray mo.
Okay po.
Pray muna tayo, Lord.
Paano ba?
Yes, Lord, purihin ka at minsan dakilain ang iyong banal na pangalan. Patuloy Ama na itaas ang iyong kadakilaan at ikaw ang patuloy na aming sambahin. Panginoon, salamat po sa gabing ito. Patuloy Ama na ipinagkakatiwala po namin ang gawain ito in the name of Jesus. Sa pamagitan ng ganitong mga gadget, patuloy Ama na makarating sa bawat isa, makapakinig, maintindihan nila dahil ito Panginoon ang nais mo. At nananalangin po kami, na patubayan po kami at patuloy na aming maibahagi ang iyong salita. Ito po ang aming sama-samang dalangin sa tanging pangalan mo, Jesus. Amen.
Ayan.
Okay po?
Okay po. So,
salamat po sa inyo.
Gagawa pa tayo ng paraan para marinig.
Kung lagyan nyo lang microphone para marinig nila.
Opo, nilagyan ko.
Matapos ang buto, siguro maging maayos na.
Yun na nga po, si Kuya Mel may problema din kanina sa ano. Ayan, sige po. Ayan na si Kuya Mel, hopefully matransfer ka. Ayan, oh, may problema din po siya, oh. May problem.
Kita rin kita. Gwapo pala Kuya Ruin, pareho na pang tayo. Walang buka.
May problema din po sa signal. Welcome to Philippines. Okay.
Nag-brown out pa dito. Talaga naman.
May problema po. Hopefully narinig po. Nag-brown out. Okay lang po. Marinig naman po siguro, Pastor. Nakadiin naman yung ano ko. Kuya Mel is trying to find a way how to lay you in. It's okay.
So, pwede na po ako mag-start?
Sige po. Sige po. Marinig po kayo. Habang ginagawa po ni Kuya Mel.
Sa buhay po natin, mga kapatid, magandang gabi po dyan sa inyong lahat. At dito po sa Pilipinas ay na-brand out na naman dahil nga sa mga kandidato. Pero ganun pa man, purihin ang Diyos sa ating mga buhay. Hindi tayo pinapatid.
Kay Kuya Mel yan signal. Kay Kuya Mel, talagang ano, may problema din.
So, i-share na lang po ninyo, sister. Tapos, pakinggan nyo, tapos kayo na lang mag-share sa kanila.
Narinig po kayo, Pastor.
Pag-aaralan ngayon.
Narinig po kayo. Narinig po kayo.
Salamat po. Ang ating pong pag-aaralan ngayon ay gaano ba katakila ang salita ng Diyos. Yun po yung ating tema ngayon, kung gaano katakila ang salita ng Diyos. Kung iisipin po natin, mga kapatid na nakikinig na sa ibang bansa o saan man dako ng mundo, gusto ko pong ipaalam sa iyo na different things yung pagkakaiba po ng huling ng Lord at saka yung gawin ng kanyang mga sinusulat sa Biblia. Hindi po talaga, karamihan po ay hindi direktang ng Lord at saka yung gawin. Hindi direct ng kanyang mga sinusulat sa Biblia. Hindi po talaga, karamihan po ay hindi direktang ng Lord at saka yung gawin. Hindi direct ng kanyang mga sinusulat sa Biblia. Hindi po talaga, karamihan po ay hindi direktang ng Lord at saka yung gawin. Hindi direct ng kanyang mga sinusulat sa karamihan po ay direktang ng Lord at saka yung gawin. Kanyang mga sinusulat sa
Voice dial.
may feedback po. Pakipatay na lang po yung audio ng mga nakikinig.
Okay.
Pakipatay po ng audio yung nakikinig para mapakinggan lang nila ako.
Sige po, okay. Hindi po pwede yung ano. Hindi po pwede yung Bluetooth. Okay na po to.
Hindi po pwede.
Oo. Ito na po.
Tingnan po ninyo yung paraan ng Panginoong Isus nung primerong mamit niya nang mamit niya si Peter. Si Peter po ay nangingisda. Nung oras na makita siya ni Jesus, na naglalakad si Jesus sa tabi ng dagat, makikita po natin na si Peter ay naghuhugas lang ng lambat dahil wala silang mahuli. Alam, napapakinggan po niyo ako?
Opo.
Pero one thing po na...
Sige lang po.
Napakinggan niyo po ako.
Opo, talk lang po kayo.
So one thing na nung tawagin ni Jesus si Pedro, sabi ni Pedro, halika, sabi niya, at lumapit si Pedro. Pagkatapos ay sabi ni Jesus, sige, pumunta ka doon sa gitna. Hindi pumunta si Pedro sa gitna. Tapos sabi ng Panginoon, ihagis mo ang lambat sa iyong kanan. At sabi ni Pedro, maghapon at magdamag na kami ng isda, wala kaming mahuli. Pero dahil sa
utos mo, ihagis mo ito. Ihagis, napakaraming nahuli. Di po ba? So, natuwa si
Nasaan na?
salita
ng Panginoon.
Napuputol din.
Dapat pakinggan mo po ako?
Opo. Sige po. Continue lang po, Pastor. Sige lang po. Pastor.
So, bali, makikita po natin, ang ating pong pag-aaralan ngayon, paano magano ba talaga ka-actually ang salita ng Panginoon? Ano ba ang ibig sabihin? Ito po kasi ay maraming klase kung paano mo intindihin ang salita ng Diyos. Yun ay, kung paano mo siya tanggapin, paano mo siya i-appreciate at paano mo siya maintindihan sa iyong puso. Kaya nga po ng tao, ano ba yung motibo mo at nakikinig ka ng salita ng Diyos? Yun po yung pinaka-main point doon. Ano yung iyong motibo? Ano ba talaga yung laro ng puso mo? Ano ba yung sitwasyon ng puso mo? Kasi po sa Ezekiel, sa Ezekiel 47, kung kayo po yung may mga Bible, basahin po natin sa Ezekiel 47, mula po sa 1 to 12, mababasa po natin yan kung gaano ka kahiwaga ang salita ng Panginoon kung kayo po may mga Biblia. Makikita po natin, isa-summary lang po natin ang reading, makikita po natin doon na kung gaano kadakila ang salita ng Diyos na gustong iparating ng Diyos kay Ezekiel. Sino po ba itong si Ezekiel? Si Ezekiel po yung batang-batang tinawag ng Diyos na naging prophet. Pagkatapos ay, ang sabi po niya, wala siyang alam. Hindi niya kaya magsalita. Ano ang ginawa po ng Diyos sa kanya? Yung role po, yung salita po ng Diyos, yung papel na salita ng Diyos, ipinakain po sa kanya na ang lasa, ayon sa kanyang, ayon sa pagkakasulat sa Ezekiel, doon sa chapter 1, ay lasa na parang pulot o kyutan. Parang yung hangin ng beef, yung bahay ng hangin ng beef. Ganon po yun kasustansya, mga kapatid. Yun po yung ibig sabihin ng gustong iparating ng Ezekiel. Pero dito po sa verse ng sa
Nawala. Dali lang po, Pastor. Inaayos ni Kuya Mel. Nag-feedback, ano? Inaayos po ni Kuya Mel yung ano, ang ating signal kasi pare-pareho po kayo nasa Pinas. Pareho po kayo ng
problema.
Ayan, okay na po.
Ayan,
okay na po ulit. Papalit po yung audio. Okay na.
Okay na po. Okay na po.
Okay na po, Pastor.
Opo. Okay na po.
Okay na po.
So, balo makikita po ninyo sa salita ng Diyos sa Ezekiel 47, basahin po natin sa 1. Sabi po dito, at ibinilik niya ako sa pintuan ng bahay at narito ang tubig at lumabas sa ilalim ng pasukan sa bahay ng dakong silangan, sapagkat ang harapan ng bahay ay sa dakong silangan at ang tubig ay umago sa ilalim mula sa dakong kanan ng bahay ng timugan ng dambana. Tamo, kikita po nyo, si Ezekiel po dinala ng anghel sa kanyang pangitain. Doon sa lugar na yun, si Ezekiel dinala ng anghel sa kanyang pangitain. Ang sabi po dito, na magkagayon, nilabas niya ako sa daan, sa pinto ang daan hilaga, at pinatnubuhay niya ako ng palibot sa daan at sa labas. At lalong sa labas ng pinto ang daan, sa daan ng pinto ang daan ay nakaharap sa dakong silangan at narito doon lumabas ang tubig sa dakong kanan. Nang ang lalaki ay lumabas sa dakong silangan, may pising panukat sa kanyang kamay at siya'y sumukat ng 1,000 siko at pinaraan niya ito sa tubig na hanggang bukong-bukong. Makikita po natin tubig na hanggang bukong-bukong. At muling sumukat siya ng 1,000 na pinaraan niya ako sa tubig at sa tubig na hanggang sa tuhod at muli siyang sumukat ng 1,000 at pinaraan niya ako sa tubig na hanggang sa balakang. Pagkatapos ay sumukat siya ng 1,000 at isang ilog na hindi ko maraanan sapagkat ang tubig ay sumampa na tubig upang languyan sa ilog na hindi maraanan. Ano klaseng Tagalog ito, mahal? Parang ang labo naman ng iyong pagkatagalog dito sa version. English na lang kaya, English. Sa madali sabi po mga kapatid, itong kasaysayan ng Ezekiel 47, nakikita po natin na Sa una ay ipinakita ng Diyos kung ano talaga yung pangitain na ibig sabihin ng Diyos. Yung pong salita ng Panginoon, mga kapatid, ay may iba-ibang dating sa atin. Saka ito po talaga ay talinghaga para kung tayo nagbabasa ng Proverbs. Kung nabasa po niyo yung Proverbs, ito po yung mga talinghaga na kung aisipin natin. Doon po, sa unang pagkakataon, yung anghel ay sumukat ng 1,000 siko. Ibig sabihin ay sa half meter ko, ibig sabihin 500 meters yun sa ating kalkulasyon. At ang sabi po dito ay hanggang bukong-bukong ang lalim ng tubig. Mula po sa kanyang paglalakad, 1,000 tubig, hanggang bukong-bukong, 500 metro ang haba at nakikita po natin ang hiwaga ng kapangyarihan ng salita ng Panginoon. So, tayo po ganun ang ating pananampalataya, mga kapatid. Ang akala natin ay kilala natin ang Diyos. Lumalakad tayo sa paniniwala. We are going to church. We are listening the Word of God. Tayo ay nagbabasa ng Biblia. Pero yung ating pong faith ay hanggang doon pa lang sa bukong-bukong. So tayo po ay nag-walk by faith. Lumalakad po tayo na walking by faith na ang ating pong karunungan o kaalaman bilang lingkod ng Diyos ay hanggang bukong-bukong pa lamang. Alam niyo po ba yung bukong-bukong sa tanampakan hanggang bukong-bukong? Hanggang doon lang pa po yung ating kaalaman. Kaya pag tayo po ay natinik, hindi tayo masaktan. Pag nakapisod tayo ng bato, ayaw na tayo. Pag tayo natumba, baka hindi ka na makapagpatuloy. Yun ang tinatawag mo, parang ina-upgrade mo. Kinakailangan po ang isang lingkod ng Diyos o naniniwala sa Diyos. Ina-upgrade niya yung kanyang pananalig sa Diyos. Importante po yung ina-upgrade. Hindi po pwedeng nakikinig ka o nagbabasa ka, pero ikaw mismo sa sarili mo na alam mo, hindi mo ina-upgrade. Mas mabuti pa nga yung cellphone, nakakaya mong i-upgrade. Mabuti pa yung computer, nakakaya mong i-upgrade. Mabuti pa yung iyong mga appliances. Tumatawag ka pa ng technician para may upgrade mo. Even your oven. Bumibili ka ng latest. Yun po ang problema. Sa atin pong pananalig sa Diyos, kinakailangan po talaga upgrading what is our faith. Hindi po habang buhay na tayo ay nag-walk na lang sa Panginoon na hanggang bukong-bukong. Madali po tayong matumba kasi naglalakad tayo. Kaya po ang ginawa nung anghel, muli, pag binasa po niyo Ezekiel 47, 1-12, makikita po na, sabi, oy, ibuha tayo ng PC. Sumukat na naman siya ng 1,000 na siklo. Ibig sabihin ay 500 meters again. Central sizes. At ang lalim po ng tubig, mula doon sa hanggang bukong-bukong, ang lalim ng tubig ay naging hanggang binti na po sa kanyang angkil, hanggang binti na. So, palang makikita po natin ang meaning nito, ang inyo pa uunawain, ay kinakailangan lumuhod ka na sa Diyos. Matuto ka ng manalangin. Binding your knee to the Lord. So, yun po yung in-upgrade mo na naman, yung iyong pananampalataya sa Panginoon. Ikaw mismo. Nalaman mo yung nag-book ka na sa Panginoon, lumalakad ka na, nagsisimba ka na, nagbabasa ka na. Pero hindi yun enough. Kinakailangan talaga, lumuhod ka sa Panginoon. Pray to the Lord. Bind your knee. Pag nakita mo nag-bind na yung knee mo, nagagawa mo na hindi ka na nahihirapan kasi po ang ibang tao hindi makaluhod dyan. Nahihiya. O kaya ay ang daging dahilan, masakit ang paa, masakit ang tuhod, masakit ang katawan. Pero hindi po ito totoo. Pride po yun. Kaya kayo ay nasa kwarto mo, hindi mo gusto mo, nakahiga ka pa, komportable yung lugar mo, hindi mo kayang lumuhod sa Panginoon. At para makita niya yun, sakripisyo mo na totoong naniniwala ka sa Diyos. So kung mag-build ka na po ng niyo, lalo na po yung iyong pananalig na ikaw ay nagpipray na. Napapansin na po niyo yung prayer ng heart mo. Maiidugtong mo na yung walking by faith and bindingly by faith. Nagbibig ka na ng ni. Ibig sabihin na nadalangin ka na. Ang isang madaling sabi po ay ito yung pangitain ibinigay ni Ezekiel. Napakahirap intindihin. Tingnan po ninyo ang ibig sabihin ni Ezekiel. Sumukat na naman ikaw ng ganun kahaba at ang tao ay nag-adinding hanggang binti. So, pag ibig sabihin ay nakaluhod ka na, matibay ka na po, hindi ka na basta-basta. Tawag pag nakaluhod. Kahit itulak ka, hindi ka basta-basta matutumba kasi madali kang makatugod ang kamay. Hindi ka matitinig kasi nakabintang mo, pero miss kang nakapokus sa Panginoon. So yun po yung ibig sabihin ng great ng salita ng Panginoon. How great. Kinakailangan hingin mo sa Panginoon o hingin mo sa Holy Spirit na Holy Spirit help us na maintindihan kung ano ba yung gusto mong iparating sa akin. So pagkatapos po noon, ang anghel muli naman nagsabi sa kanya, kumuha naman siya ng pigi, sabi niya, sumukat ka naman ulit ng 500 meters. Sumukat na naman siya. Hanggang baywang na po ang tubig. Ibig sabihin, lumalalim na yung iyong pananalig sa Panginoon dahil hanggang baywang na. So ano po ang sakop ng baywang? Ibig sabihin, pwede ka nang sumaya. Ibig sabihin, ikaw ay ang iyong katawan at saka yung iyong puso ay meron ng pananalig sa Panginoon, nai-enjoy ka na. Pero hap-hap pa rin yung enjoyment mo dahil hanggang baywang lang. So narito na po yung talagang ibig sabihin ng iyong lakas, ang iyong tibay ay ibinibigay mo na sa Panginoon. So sakot mo nito ang iyong bulsa. To be clear. Kaya kinakailangan mayroon po talagang financial na lalabas sa paglilingkod sa Panginoon. Ibig sabihin, ikaw ay hindi don't know how to lead, paano kang tumulong sa kapwa mo, paano kang tumulong para ikalalago ng mga gawain. Ito po bahagi kaya nga hanggang basaan na pati bulsa mo. Ibig sabihin, ito po yung pag sabihin nabasa na yung iyong bulsa, nabasa na ang iyong biyawang, ibig sabihin talagang handa ka nang tumikas, hindi ka na po matitilag. Pero ito po hanggang biyawang ng tubig, matibay na po ang iyong posisyon. Kahit sumampas na ang alon sa iyo, hindi ka na basta-basta kasi posisyon na ka na doon. So naroon na po yung iyong pagsayaw sa Panginoon, naroon na po yung iyong bulsa na sasakop na, ang iyong kitay na sasakop na. Kaya po pinagkakatiwala mo niyo sa Diyos at ang Diyos po ay hindi nawawalan ng panahon para ikaw ay maunawaan. Kasi po ito po yung problema ng ibang mananampalataya, naniniwala sa Diyos. Okay, sila basta tanggalan lang, okay, I believe. Ay, ang hanggang bubukong pa lang po yung kanilang pananalig sa Panginoon, pa lang po sila. Kaya pag sila sinabihan, pag napagkwentuhan, kung ano yung ayaw nila, ay umaatras na, kung ano na ng kontra, hindi po nila pinakikinggan, hindi po nila iniintindi yung deeper, what is the meaning of the Word of God. Kaya kailangan po talaga, ano ba tayong motibo mo? Why you are studying the Word of God? Gusto mong pang-debate o gusto mong may pakita ikaw ay mananampalataya? Hindi po ganun. Kasi po sa buhay ko, gusto ko sabihin sa inyo, talagang inuuna ko po sa buhay ko talaga, giving. I share my life, giving. Ako po hindi nag-iintindi yung mga ganyan-ganyan. At sa awa po ng Diyos, hindi hinayaan ng Panginoon mabigyo ako sa aking mga anak. Wala po talagang bisyo ang mga anak ko. Praise and glory to be God. Mga anak ko po awa ng Diyos, talagang purihin ang Panginoon. Kaya yun ang gusto ko pong ipaalam sa inyo na yung nagbibinday nito, yung aking diwang, yung aking nakakaluhod na po ako, nakakadaos na ako sa Panginoon. Ibig sabihin, matatag na po ang inyong paniniwala sa Diyos. Yun po ang ibig sabihin. Tapos, pagkatapos po nito, ano po sabi ng anghel? Okay, susukat ulit siya. Ay, hindi ka na pwedeng sumukat. Sabi niya, kasi malalim na. Ang sabi ng anghel, kinakailangan lumangoy ka na. Kaya, basahin po yung 47 sa Ezekiel 47, nakikita mo, lumangoy ka na dahil malalim na. Siyempre, pag naglagay ka, is precious of the Lord ang nilalangoyan mo. So, ibig sabihin, malalim na, kaya mo na kahit anong mga problema ang danasin mo, isipin mo ang mga hindi marunong lumangoy na lumangoy sa malalim, ano po yung kahihinat mo? Hindi. Drown. Marami pong area ng sakit niyan. At saka po pag ikaw ay lumalangoy, ang lahat po ng iyong parte ng katawan ay kikilos. Kamay, paa, mata, puso, determine. Kaya nga po ang pinaka-the best exercise ng tao ay swimming. Sa lahat po ng athlete, ang pinakamahirap na laro ay ang paglalangoy. Kasi po talagang yung hangin mo, yung lakas ng iyong binti, lakas ng iyong kamay, kailangan gamitin mo. Pero pag ikaw ay sanay na sa paglalangoy, kahit gano'ng kalalim, pwede kang mag-floating. Yun po yung process ng Holy Spirit. Kahit magpatuhad-tuhad ka doon, magpabalik-balinto ka, sumisid ka, mag-butterfly ka, backstroke ka, kaya mo kasi, kaya mong lumungoy. Pag lilangoy mo po, ito yung praises ng Lord. Ano po ba? Sa lahat po na nakikinig diyan, palibasa po internet nga itong pag-uusap natin, basta na lang po ninyo clearly habang tayo kung kayo po may panahon o pagkatapos ng ating pakikinig ninyo, basahin po niyo yung Ezekiel 47:1-3 para maintindihan po nyo ng mabuti. Pag naglalagay ko na sa page na, wala ka na pong iintindihin. Hindi ka na basta-basta, saka itutula, kahit itula ka, makakalawi ka. Gano'n ka katatag pag dadong ka marunong ka lumungo sa praises ng Lord. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng Ezekiel 47. Ano ang gawin? Iluglog ka? Ay, sisig. Lulutan ka din. Kasi nga, matatag ka na. Kasi kasama-sama muna ang praises ng Lord. Doon na po papasok yung tinatawag na healing. Naintindihan po ulit. Doon na po papasok yung ibig sabihin ng healing. Kasi po, saliksikin mo man ang Biblia, kung ang ating pong pananalig, kung ating paniniwala sa Diyos ay hindi natin ina-update, ang akala nung iba, walang update ng salita ng Diyos. Meron po. Dati sa Ezekiel, sa Old Testament, sinabi na po ng pangitay ni Ezekiel na gano'n ang gagawin. Sumukat ka uli. Ngayon, ang sabi ng Panginoon, pag ikinaglalangoy na, makakatawid ka doon sa tabi. Doon sa lupa ng Assyria, na mayroong dalawang klase ng tubig. Imagine po kung gaano kaganda ang benefits ng Lord. Nakalagay po doon, isang tabang at saka isang alat. Sabi niya, kung ikaw ay kakain yung tubig alat, pwede mong gamitin. Para may panlasa ka. Kung kailangan mo uminom, mayroon, ibig sabihin, kumplito na po ang pag-ibig ng Diyos. Kumplito na po yung kailangan ng Diyos. Tapos, ang sabi po doon, may mga puno sa tabi. May mga puno sa tabi. At ang sabi, yung mga puno ay hindi tumitigil ng pumumunga. Season or without season, there is a fruit bearing. Imagine po yun, mamaya sister, pagkatapos natin mag-usap, basahin mo kung ano talaga. Hilingin mo sa Diyos kung ano gusto niyang iparating sa buhay. It's para sa iyo talaga ang salitang ito na makikinig mo. Doon po sa kabilang yun, naroon yung mga puno na sabi, walang tigil sa pumunga. Ibig sabihin, non-season o head season, mamumunga. So, wala kang gutom. Yeah. Then, ang sabi pa ito, may mga dahong malalaglag. Clearly stated in the book. Ang sabi po ng Panginoon, ang lahat ng dahon doon ay pwede mong gamitin na panggamot sapagkat ang dahon na lalaglag mula sa puno ay gamot. Eh, di kompleto na po ang healing. Ano po ang hiwaga ng ating pinag-usapan? The greatest word of God. Meron na pong healing, meron pong pananalig sa Panginoon. Yun po yung different things na gusto kong ipaalam sa lahat ng ating mga kapatid na huwag kayong mag-isip ng kung ano mga negatively sa ating nangyayari sa mundong ito. Kasi po, especially ngayong politika, especially kung ano pang maraan ng gobyerno, marami po kasi natitinag ka kasi nga, ang iyong pananalig, ganyan kang bukong lang. I-upgrade mo ba? Ginawa mo bang hanggang tuhod para ka makaluhod? O pag ikinakaluhod na, ginawag na yung pieces mo. Na kahit ano yung mga problema na nasa gilid mo, yung asawa mo, yung anak mo, yung kapitbahay mo, yung kasama mo sa trabaho, ipagtutulak ka, isususit ka, matibay ka na dahil nakaanuhod ka na, God. Eh, lalo na kung hanggang diwang na yung iyong dosa. Ade, basta na, kung tulong ang bulsa mo, eh, matibay na, walang problema, hindi ka na nag-iisip sa iyong kikitain. Alam mo, ang Lord ay mag-blessing kasi, basa-basa ka na, labi dyan, nasa paligid mo na yung pangangailangan mo. Lalo na yung kamay mo na, magaling ka nang magbigay, magaling ka ng tumulog, magaling ka din tumanggap. Then, amen. Pinalangoy ka na. Di ibig sabihin, you are swimming in the praises of the Lord. Alam mo, pag ikaw nag-alangoy sa praises ng Lord, ang isang swimmer, yan po yung isang example na ang tao parang buwang, parang sira ang ulo. Yeah. Yan po niya, langoy. Maya-maya, lulubog. Maya-maya, tagilid. Maya-maya, butterfly, kung ano, maya-maya, magpapalutang. Hindi pa rin masihan. Pag nasa dagat ka, pa ikay gusto nag-laway, parang wala kang pupunti, ang gusto mo talagang lumoy kasi yun na po yung presence ng Panginoon. Ang sabi po ng Ezekiel, kung makakarating ka doon sa pampang, wala ka nang magiging problema. Dahil, ang sabi ng Ezekiel, may tubig ng alat, may tubig ng tabang. Lahat na klaseng isda, tabang at isda, lahat na klase ng isda, makakain mo. Eh, nakikita, naka-student mo yan, mamaya basahin mo, tapos ang mga hayop doon, lahat nakakain mo. Pagkatapos pagdating mo doon sa tabi, ang puno, madaming bunga, madaming prutas. So, mangingitas ka na lang, walang tigil, sabi ng Panginoon. At healing sa lahat ng mga dahong nalalagan. Ultimo yung dahong nalalagod na lang tama. Na kung sa ating buhay, yung mga dahong yung walang kwinta. Pero ang sabi ng Diyos, panggamot. Yun po yung dahilan kung bakit ang inyong pong lingkod magsisikap na mag-share ng word of God. So, bagay na ito. Why? I'm so interested na inimbitahan mo ako, sister. Interested ako. Dahil sa tulaan ito, sa munti kong karunungan o kaalaman, gusto kong ihandog sa inyo ang paraan na gustong iparating sa akin ng Diyos. At kung ano man ang gustong iparating sa inyo, wala akong problema. Pero yun po yung gustong ipakahulugan ng Panginoon. Ano po ang kailangan? Sabi nga po ni Jesus kay Pedro, nung nasa dagat, hindi sila nagkakahalika. Wala naman pong reklamo si Pedro, kahit hindi niya kilala. Sinakay niya. Kung bang ilaot-laot mo ng konti. Sabi nga, ihulog mo ang labat. Wala na po kaming mahuli. Magdamag na kaming umiis na wala kaming mahuli. Ano sabi ni Jesus? Ihulog mo. Sabi niya, bagamat wala kaming mahuli, pero ihulog ko dahil utos mo. Ano po yung inis na maintindihan ninyo? May umigil siya. Nag-umigil siya sa Lord. Ihulog niya. Sino po yung makapagsabing kailangan pang tumawag ni Pedro ng mga manghihil dahil sa dami ng isa, hindi maikargabis dito sa kanyang bangka. Kumuha pa ng isang bangka. Ang pagtakahan pa nila, kasama ni Pedro si Jesus. Tapos doon sa version po ng Luke, makikita po niya si Jesus na doon sa pampangat nag-iihaw na ng isda niya huli. How can you imagine this man? The miraculous things that happen ang ibig sabihin ng Diyos, ang salita ng Diyos. Minsan po kasi ang tao, pag bumasa sa Biblia, iniisip na yun yung ibig sabihin. Hindi po. Puriin po natin, basahin po natin, dahil ito po yung top. Ito po yung top. Kung ano talaga yung iniintindi mo. Hindi mo nila po pwedeng samahan ng kung ano-anong mga idea. Kasi po ang problema ay sa dami po ng karunungan ng tao. Hindi na po natin natipis ang Lord. Sa dami ng karunungan. I have to clean my car, I have to clean up because my visitor is coming, pero oras ng pagsimba, oras ng pag-pray, hindi natin magawa ng reality time. Muna kasi may dadating na bisita. Who is that visitor? Sino ba ang importante sa iyo? Ang Diyos o yung bisita mo? Sino ba yung pinapahalagan mo? Pero yung oras na i-promise mo sa Lord na ako'y mag-pray ngayon, hindi mo magawa. Why? Kasi nga po, ang naitipis ng tao, ang sabi, kung wala yung pananalig, marami kang reason. Marami kang dahilan. Bakit po? Yung panahon mo sa iyong anak, yung pahilan mo sa iyong pamilya, hindi. Ano yan? Kasi, naibig ako sa nakundin na ibang tao. Yun po yung isang malaking error. Ako po may kapatid sa Quezon noon. Wala age. Ako po yung binata dahil ako po yung lumaking, sabi nga ay talagang ako yung kontra sa mga hindi, ako po yung born na, sabi nga, loko. Pero ako po yung born na may heart ako na doon sa tama. Lagi ako nakapanig sa tama. Para yung pelikula nila doon Padilla na very good ako, pero bad ang image ko. Kasi po yung aking mga pamangkin, na doon sa kwarto, sabi ko, anong ginagawa ninyo? Balis sila po yung anim. Anong ginagawa nyo? Nandito kami dito sa kwarto. Bakit? Sabi ko, kasi may bisitang dadating si nanay galing sa munisipyo, mga nagtatrabaho sa munisipyo, sa Kasimilyo. Kung ngayon, ba't kayo natin sa loob? Kasi magkakain na. Ano sinisilip po? Kasi masasarap ang inihanda nila nun. Mga sugpo, at saka mga bangus na mandaka, at saka kami, at saka alimasan. Kung sabi ko, ba't di pa kayo kumain? Ay mamaya na daw, pagkakain daw ng bisita, saka sila kakain. Kaya ako dumating. Nakita ko ang labis sila kahanda na. Pero wala po yung ate ko. Ang ginawa ko, kinuha ko lahat yung mga, kumuha ako ng maraming mga sugpo, alimasan, bangus. Tinala ko sa kakain, kahit yung kain na pamangkin. Pagdating po ng ate ko, nasa naganda. Nabuksan kami din sa kuto, makain yung mga bata. Ay anak mo yun. Sino nagpakain niya? Si Manuel. Ay hindi po na makapalag yung ate ko, takot sa akin. Alam niya, loko ako eh. Bakit yung pinakain? May bisita ako. Aba, ina, ganun pa ako ang bisita mo. At papakainin mo, itong mga anak mo doon pakain. Uunahin mo pa sila kang bisita. Samantalang siya kakoy na sa munisipyo, may mga trabaho, pwede silang pumunta sa masasarap. Sabi ko, pwede silang kumain ng masasarap. Di. Kaya ano, pakakain ko yan ako, nagbumili ako ng tuyo dyan, i-perito mo yan. At saka yung ibang isa, perito mo yan, maliliit, galing doon. Sabi ko, masarap pa sa pamilya mo, sa anak mo. Pamagin ko, sabi ko, masarap sila, mayayaman, may sweldo sila. Ito po yung different things ng paniniwala natin. So, pinahahalagahan po, piniplis po natin yung mga tao na alam mo naman na sila yung makakain din na mas higit nila makakain yun. Yung kami po yung nagtatalo ng ate ko, nadon po pala sa kabilang pinto ang mayor. Si Mayor Aduban pa yun sa amin sa Pagbilao. Niyakap niya ang ate ko at sabi niya, Hiling, tama ang kapatid mo. Mas mabuti pa yung tuyong batang. Hindi ko yan basta kinakain, madalang yung kumain na lang at prito mo. Ngayon ko naintindihan. Sabi niya na parang ako'y tinamaan sa ginawa ng inyong kapatid sa akin. Siya yung ko, pero may meaning yung kanyang ibig sabihin. Hindi ko sila ng ginataang langka, ginataang ng gabi, yung laing, siya ang kinain nila. Yung mga pamangkin ko nakakain ng masarap. So yun po yung gusto kong ipaliwanag sa inyo na pinaka-importanting bagay. Alam mo talaga yung tamang pahahalagahan mo. Alam mo yung tama mong iintindihin. Kasi po at the end of the day, alam mo kung sino ang iyong kasama. And very important sa gagawin ito sa kong paliwanag sa inyo, God is the best priority. Ang Diyos ang best priority.
Amen.
Hindi po, marami ka ng pera, pero ikaw naman ay hindi maligaya. Ikaw ay, nakinig ko po, I'm old. Yung sinisid mo, ang mga anak ko, ang aking asawa, na andyan. Na, sabi nga, sa edad ko ito, pinagsisilusan pa rin ako. Sabi ko, praise God. Praise God, sabi ko. Sabi ko nga. So, yun po yung napakahalaga. Kaya, mga kapatid, gusto ko pong ipaalam sa inyo na we need to upgrade yung ating pananalig sa Panginoon. Hindi po yung kung ano lang yung anong kaya mo yan na lang. Hindi po. Higitan po ninyo. Mag-isip po kayo. Mag-isip kayo. Hanggat maaari mag-isip kayo, hindi pwedeng kayo tagapakinig. Hindi pwedeng kayo ay tagasya na lang. Hindi po talagang, sabi po, the wise people, sabi po ng Proverbs, the wise people is those who win the soul. Yun po yung wise. Yung talagang nagsisid ng umugot at napapunta sa panig na Diyos. Wise daw po yun, sabi ng Panginoon. I will give them yung life. Mahabang buhay. So, sakop na po yun. Ganito po yun. Sabi po ni Ezekiel. Sabi po ng Angel, pakatandaan mo, sabi niya, ang tao hindi naiintindihan yung gustong iparating ng Diyos. Ang gusto ng tao, Panginoon, bigyan mo po ako ng aking pangailangan, tulungan mo po ako. Maintindihan mo sana. Alam mo na po ang aking kailangan. Amen. Pero, sure things. Pero, hindi po natin nabibigyan ng glamour. Kumbaga, hindi natin nabibigyan ng kung paano ba yung talagang passion. Passion yung design ng heart mo na mai-offer mo sa loob, yung kalugod-lugod sa Kanya. Kaya sa gabing ito po yung ating napag-aralan na walk by faith, believe by faith, and pray to the Lord. Then blessing, patuloy yung iyong money, isayaw mo sa Panginoon, yung hanap buhay mo, pagkatasuing the presence of the Lord. In walking rich, matutuha mo, maaamin ano yung pangailangan mo. Hallelujah. Yun po at magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat at sa inyo po yung tagapakinig. Hindi po natin pag-uusapan kung ano yung inyong style ng paniniwala at karunungan. Ang pinag-uusapan po natin, ikaw mismo, na nariyan ka at nakikinig ka at good mo. Hindi mo alam yung katabi mo, kasama-sama sa araw-araw, ay ano ba, gaano ba ka-official na kayo ay close. May mag-ama, may mag-ina, may mag-kuya, may mag-ate, hindi po sila close. Kaya nung pareho sila mabuti nakikita, sino ka? Ay, ate, narito ka pala. Anong ngayon po, habang tayo ay kaya pagbawa, na-update na natin yung ating pagmamahal, open our heart, forgiveness, as tayo po mamuhay ng parehas sa ating buhay at makakamtan po natin, i-achieve mo natin. Huwag po natin halukay, mabuti yung iyong karunungan kung ikaw mismo hindi mo ina-update ang pananalig sa Diyos. Maraming salamat po at sige po tayo ay maglaro.
Kung kailan po kayo tapos na yung ilaw nyo po, bumalik.
Oo, ngayon lang nag-ilaw. Yan po yung gawa ng kawat eh. Hindi. Yun po yung sitwasyon namin dito sa Pilipinas.
Oo.
So yun po, tayo po ay mag-pray. O Lord,
Salamat
we
po.
thank you.
Okay.
We thank you, Lord, at
Amen.
patuloy ang mga anak kami ay minsan pa nagpapasalamat sa iyong gusto iparating sa amin, Panginoon. Pag mo hayaan, Ama, na kami ay lumalakad lamang sa abot ng aming kaya. Bagkus, Panginoon, hayaan mo na kami magbabasa iyo. Aming event ang
Amen.
aming ni, manalangin kami, maging matatag kami. Yung aming pong bayawang, Panginoon, ang aming baywang ay makasayaw sa inyo, sa praises ninyo. Even ang aming kabuhayan o aming money, Panginoon, ay i-share namin, Panginoon, sa mga taong nangangailangan. Gamitin mo kami, Panginoon, as you need, Panginoon. At patuloy ang mana, malangoy namin ang iyong presence, Panginoon. Makalangoy kami sa pagisya mo.
Yes, Lord.
Dahil gusto po namin marating yung pampang ngayon na naroon yung bearing fruits ng season without season, Panginoon, may bunga. At lahat po ng naroon, isda, prutas, dahon, kagalingan, complete healing po, Panginoon. Kaya yung hiwaga ng iyong,
Yes, Lord.
yung hiwaga ng iyong salita, Panginoon, walang kupas, punong-puno ng pagmamahal, Panginoon. Thank you. Thank you po
Yes, Lord.
sa aking kapatid, si Sister Francis, laging Panginoon, yung aking
Amen.
kapatid na namamahala sa audio, Panginoon, sa kabila, Panginoon, in the name of Jesus. Si Kuya Mel,
Lord.
Ama Diyos, patuloy na i-extend mo ang bawat isa, hindi ko man sila magkakilala sa nakikinig ng mga kababayan,
Yes.
Panginoon. Patuloy ang mana kayo yung kumilos po sa kanila. Dahil aanin po
Yes,
namin kung ano-ano man yung aming gusto kung kami naman po wala sa piling mo. Mabayan po kami, Ama.
Yes, Lord.
Patuloy ang mana, ang tanging hiling po namin, yung basbas mo, yung kalinga mo, yung pag-ibig mo, yung pagmamahal mo, naranasan namin. Matuto kami magmahal sa iyo. Matuto kami sumamba sa iyo, Panginoon, ng buong puso. Alisin po yung mga atlinlangan, yung mga doubt, Panginoon. So, hallelujah. Alisin po, Panginoon, yung mga karamihan sa isip namin na hindi mo mamarapatin, Panginoon Diyos. Dahil kung sa amin lang po, hindi namin lumakas. Kaya, Panginoon. Patuloy, Ama, na basbasan mo sila Diana. Kumikilos ay mabuhay kami na may totoong pananalig sa iyo. Hindi in the praises and glory, Panginoon.
Amen.
Dahil pangalan mo, Jesus. Amen. Thank you po.
Amen.
Mas mga itong messenger, sister, eh. Walang putol ba?
Thank you, Pastor. Yun, nandun po kayo. Ayan, oh. Nilagay.
Lalagay, praise God.
Magaling. Magaling yung IT natin.
Praise God. Kuya, thank you very much. Wala lang tayong slides kasi hindi nasama sa phone lang ito kasi wala akong purihin ng Lord. Salamat po ng maraming at patuloy kayong mag-ingat dyan.
Thank you po, Pastor. God bless po. See you. See you on Saturday.
Okay po, sige.
Thank you, Kuya Bill. God bless. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. See you, everyone. Sorry po sa technical problem. It's only in the Philippines.
Okay. I-off ko na kaya itong
Kaya itong messenger, Kuya Mel.
I-off ko na.
Maingay.
Okay. Ayan. Okay, thank you so much everybody. Wow, at least nagawa ng paraan ni Kuya Mel ang ating audio. So, yeah, magtatapos na po kami ngayon. See you again on Saturday. So, yeah, we'll find another guest probably for 1 hour. Maybe Philippines. Another pastor coming on Saturday. Kasi wala po yung ating international taga-Australia na si Mr. Gary Francis. So, we'll find another one. So, see you and good night. God bless everybody. Thank you for joining and watching us. So, God bless everybody. JMTV, Kuya Mel, see you soon. God bless.